Hi and welcome or welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title below, we have our special video. I'm finally sitting down to tell you how I self-studied for the CNA exam. This is my second time recording this video, and I've had this on my to-do list for the past year. So I'm quite sorry. Honestly, I'm quite sorry. Let's get into it. First off, CNA. What is a CNA? A CNA is a certified nursing assistant. You're assisting the nurse. Pretty much, that's what it is. That's what it's meant to be. That's what it is. A lot of people have a misconception of what a CNA is, that we just wipe people's booties all day. Not true. Not true. In my job, I've prepared meals for people more than I've wiped people's butts. So do with that what you will. You also provide company, things like that. That's just what a CNA is. That's the job description. But today I'm going to be talking to you about how I self-studied for the exam instead of going through like a formal training, like an in-person formal training with like a professor and all that extra stuff, and spent money on that. Instead, I taught myself and I studied for it. I'm going to be telling you what I used, and maybe it could be right for you. So before I get into that, I am going to tell you what my journey was like. I started seriously studying for the CNA exam August 9th of 2021, and I took the exam August 20th of 2021. So yes, you heard that right. I studied for about 11 days, for real. I did take my diagnostic test in May. What did I do after that? Not much. Maybe I would passively look at Quizlet, like CNA Practice exam sets and things like that, but that was probably the most that I did. I studied seriously for the exam for about 11 days, and my daily routine was to study. Sorry, hold on, this puff is bothering me. Was to study 25 questions each day from the Quizlet sets and to master 3 skills. The CNA exam itself composes of 2 portions. We have the written portion and then we have the practical portion. The written portion is a bunch of multiple choice questions that you have to score at least 80% on. And then for the practical portion, we're performing skills. We're either going to perform on the dummy or probably a peer, somebody else was also testing that same day. Whoever it's on, you just gotta know your stuff. You have this is me speaking for the Florida exam specifically because I live in Florida, and I think in other states they may have things different. But for my exam, we had 22 skills that whoever could choose from, and you have to perform 5 of them. Of the 5, we have hand washing and indirect care, which are definite givens. They will always definitely be tested. For hand washing, you have to specifically be able to know how long you're supposed to be washing your hands for, making sure you don't touch the faucet with your bare hands, make sure you use paper towel, things like that. For indirect care, you got to be able to walk into the room and be like, "Hi, my name is Jean, and I am your CNA for today." Things like that, or being able to talk to the patient as you're doing things for them. Indirect care, that's what that is. So those 2 are given skills that you know you're going to have. Otherwise, you're going to get some chosen from the list of 22. You can go on Prometric or the CNA site, and you'll be able to see which skills are usually tested depending on whichever state you live in. And that's that. So that's me explaining what the CNA exam composes of. So for the first portion, which is the written exam, or it could be the second portion, depending on what order you take the tests. I can't remember which order it was for me. I don't think that matters, honestly. So for the written portion, I used Quizlet. I think Quizlet is actually no longer free. Do with that what you will. I just went online and I typed into Google Quizlet CNA practice questions. Just like that. Practice questions for CNA, whatever, so like that. And then whichever ones that came up, I studied them. I just made sure I understood the stuff. I do want to preface this by saying I have a background in medicine already. I had a background in medicine already. I volunteered and worked at a doctor's office for years, so medical jargon is not foreign to me. So I was comfortable with that, working with my mom, who was also a CNA for many years, almost 2 decades, my brother-in-law, who is a CNA, and be able to help my grandparents and things like that. I have a background in medicine. So that is also what allowed me to be able to study on such short notice and be able to go take the exam and pass. And the help of the Lord Almighty, of course. I don't want to not give him his credit. But if you don't have a background in medical things, in medicine, I would suggest that you take longer to study. Don't just follow my example and study for 11 days and then be like, oh, why didn't I pass? Major told you that she had experience and you might not. So if it doesn't work for you, if you don't have that previous knowledge, I would suggest you take longer to study. But yes, as I was saying, for the written portion, I would go on Quizlet, go through those questions, because to me, because of my prior knowledge in medicine, most of the questions were common sense, as common can be. Take with that what you do with that what you will. I just studied those, made sure I understood things. When I took the first diagnostic, which was in May, I got a 78% and you needed 80% to pass. So I only got one question off, and that was before I started reading through anything, before I started studying anything, and that was like when I started studying for real August 9th. So that just gives you a general idea of what I mean by I knew a lot of stuff already. So that's what I did for the written portion. Just go online, go to Google, type in Quizlet, CNA practice questions, whichever ones that pop up, study them. Understand them, write down what you got wrong, understand why it's wrong, understand what you got right and why it's right, and just get that down. That's for the written portion. Now for this skills on hand practical portion, that's what I was most nervous about, because I don't know, it's just more nerve-wracking to me. For that, I used For Your CNA. For Your CNA. That is a YouTube channel. A person made that, and may the Lord bless and keep them, because what they did, they snapped. They basically have all of the skills one by one in each video, showing you exactly what you need to do to get that skill correct. Showing you exactly how much time to spend washing hands, exactly what you need to say. Study those, like, just study those. Make sure you know them. What I did, like I said, I think I said this already in my routine, I would study 3 new skills every other day. So if I learned hand washing, nail care, feet care in one day, the next day I would go over that, practice on my siblings or anybody else in my family, on the teddy bear, my niece, whoever, and then the following day after that, which is 2 days later, I would learn 3 more. Calculating urinary output, feeding, or teeth care, or any type of other video, just whatever else. That's what I did personally in order for me to get those skills down, and I did that up until testing day. I did practice. Once you do it hands-on over and over, it becomes like second nature to you, so it won't be as nerve-wracking. Like if I had more time, I probably would have just done it more. I would have done it more often. Walking into a room, do the full ordeal, because they're also testing you on your indirect care, how you're able to speak to the patient, if you're able to communicate effectively. So make sure you're able to do all of that as you're practicing. That's that. So that's how I studied for the practical portion. I don't think there's anything else I need to say on that. Just take notes, make sure you understand what's happening in that, and yeah, for the written portion, study those Quizlets. I will put a link down in the description below for the free diagnostic test that I took. That, like I said, is free. I just typed into Google and said practice exam, CNA practice exams, whichever one came first, just used it, and I took the exam, and it gave me my score and everything. And again, for the practical section, I just typed in For Your CNA. That is the channel that I used to study. And again, I want to emphasize this is for the Florida exam. I don't know how different it will be for you in Georgia or for you in California. It may be different. I don't want you to think that everything I say is law and just go by that. Look up online on Prometric, I believe that's the CNA site, and it'll tell you exactly which skills are tested for whichever state you're in, And but remember, you're not tested on all of them. It's whoever chooses, they just choose the 5 skills that you're being tested on. So just make sure you know all of them. Whichever ones that you know are tested for your state, your city, your whatever, make sure you know them, so that when it comes down time for them to test you, you know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think that fully wraps up how I self-study for the exam. It's just, my logic was that I didn't want to have to spend more money than I needed to. If it's possible to study by yourself and not have to pay for a training, do that. But if you know that you personally need more structure or things like that, go ahead for a training. First, in a separate video, I can talk about how I adjusted from self-studying, especially the skills, to actually performing on patients. I can do separate video just talking about that, if that's something you guys would be interested in, because I did take the exam on the 20th of August, as I said, and my first case was October 31st. So, and I applied for the job after passing, so it was pretty soon after I did get a job. I mean, that's great or whatever, but it was definitely a learning curve, going from practicing on dummies, practicing with these set materials they give you, versus going to someone's home and using whatever they have available. It was definitely different. There definitely was, and I can just do a separate video talking about that. My reasoning for becoming a CNA, I feel like I do need to highlight this too, is because I'm on the pre-med track and I want to get some clinical service hours. I had the choice between being a scribe, an MA, or being a CNA, things like that. I didn't choose to become a scribe because I was like, I don't want to just stand there taking notes for a doctor. I wanted to do things that are more hands-on, where I'm able to directly impact the person's life. And I didn't want to be an MA, so I don't know. CNA just fit there. I could have been a phlebotomist, but I was just like, I want to be able to be there, be someone's companion. And from hearing my mom being a CNA, seeing my mom as a CNA, seeing my brother-in-law as a CNA, I just knew that this was the right path for me, and I wouldn't have to pay for a training. That's the big kicker. So yeah, if you self-studied for the exam, or if you have any other questions, please let me know down in the description. Let me know down in the comment section. If you self-studied and you were successful, let us know what you did. If you were not successful, let us know what you would do next time. But yeah, I wish you the best of luck. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to become one, and I believe in you. You got this. Piece of cake. It's all about the mentality. As long as you think of it as a piece of cake, it is a piece of cake. You got this. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to help you out. And, you know, happy studying. Good luck. May God be with you. Pray about it. Ask the Lord for guidance. And you got this. But yeah, I think that wraps up the video. I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. But yeah, that's the memo. Bye.